Hello there. Suella Braverman's comments on immigration were utterly vacuous. Don't be fooled by them. Did you get fooled by Suella Braverman's truth speak about immigration yesterday? Oh, how I wish there was a real plan behind her migration talk. But I'm not being sucked in by this rhetoric surrounding a perceived change in the government's stance. It is nothing more than opportunistic electioneering by another Tory minister, whose hands are tightly bound by the external courts, global authorities and the UK woke legal system. We in the UK need to cut all ties with those internal and external forces that are rubbing our noses in their beliefs of an open borders world. If our government really wanted to control our borders, they would have actually done something about the Channel crossing crisis. But they haven't. And things have just got worse. Much worse. And don't get me started on legal net migration at over 600,000 a year. This is all part of the plan. Despite the voters sending the government explicit instructions in the 2016 Brexit referendum. But we have no real and strong leaders who are up to the task. We just have weak WEF puppets who are actually doing a marvellous job of keeping the great unwashed in line. Braverman will have to do a lot more than this to prove she is not some kind of controlled opposition talking the talk but never walking the walk. Where is the rebellion? Where is the revolution we so desperately need? But whatever your view on what Suella Braverman said yesterday, the one thing she did do was upset the left by opening a real can of worms. The liberal and so-called progressive left is in total meltdown this morning. All because Braverman sparked the much-needed debate on the rights of nation-states to control their own borders. And Braverman has, with one speech, changed it from an internal UK left-right spat into an international debate. An international debate that has at the heart of it the government's duty to protect its citizens. Now, there are a lot of theories around why she made this speech yesterday to the American Enterprise Institute think tank in Washington, all revolving around internal Tory party politics and their upcoming party conference. But whatever the reasons, she was right to get this debate started. And the one bonus point for her is that it has crystallised the position of the UK left in all of this. They do not want debate or change. They just want open borders, and the more the merrier. Now, did Braverman do this to bolster the Tory support base in the lead up to an upcoming general election? Or is she pushing the political boundaries to show she has the mettle to replace Rishi Sunak if, and probably when, he is turfed out of number 10 at the next general election? Or could she even be manoeuvring for some sort of challenge very soon? Maybe Rishi Sunak's recent announcements over watering down net zero has got a growing number of eco-zealot Tory MPs submitting letters of no confidence to the 1922 committee chairman Graham Brady. Maybe she has an idea of how many. Who knows? Did she make this speech for us? To protect our borders, our wealth, our way of life and culture? Or is this all about her? And more importantly, would she live up to this strong talk? Now, those who like what she's saying won't worry too much about motive. But those on the opposing side, who believe in open borders and becoming the world's social services and piggy bank, or just want a hard left Labour Party in charge, will put all sorts of bad intent on the reasons for her speaking out. But by doing so, they have let the cat out of their open borders bag. They are desperate for the legal status quo to be retained. They are desperate for the UK to be unable to defend itself from an ever-increasing number of newcomers. They are desperate to completely overturn centuries of our development, to destroy all notion of UK heritage. And they have already started with statue toppling and the rewriting of our street names and even the history in our children's textbooks. This is now wholesale, and any move to update the situation to account for the geopolitical, travel and information changes since the 1950s will be fought against tooth and nail by these people. The same as with the United Nations and the WEF. They all just want more of the same, with Labour and Lib Dem and assorted other lefty politicians ganging up with non-governmental organisations and the UN to slam the mere proposal that we need to update the laws surrounding things like refugee status out of the 1950s and into the 21st century. They have made their position very clear, crystal clear, that the rights of any individual wanting to come to the UK, for example, for any reason, far outweigh any right or duty the government has to protect their citizens, or any right for those citizens that live here to voice any objection. Now, while those in wealthy countries like the UK, the US and the EU would like to see their borders, safety and wealth protected, those in much poorer countries want to see the reverse. They want to see, in fact they are now demanding, wealth redistribution on a massive scale, and the ability of their people and families to benefit from living in developed countries and sending money to their home country. Then there's the ability for some regimes to offload those they don't want. And states like this are fighting to ensure that they can continue to control our borders via the UN, the ECHR, the EU and the WEF. And they are facilitated by the progressive left within our country, politicians, lawyers, judges and NGOs, with many NGOs working globally to realise their aims of an open borders world where nation-states are long-forgotten historical aberrations. Now the world is a massive geopolitical 3D chessboard with 7 billion plus chess pieces on it, with each chess piece having fewer or greater powers depending on various factors like country of birth or wealth, as well as how brutal some are willing to be to get their own way, something that has applied to the West just as much as it has to a few despotic African states. And now that the developed countries like the UK have tied themselves in knots legally via UN and ECHR treaties, for example, the poorer nations will, of course, pull those legal levers if they can to ensure they get their own way, and work tirelessly to ensure we can't change the rules on their ability to do so. But so will those with bad intent, those that wish us harm, or those who wish to inhumanely profit from it. They will also pull those levers. And at the moment the West, by its own weakness, is fast losing that legal battle. It has no stomach to face up to the challenge and the dangers posed to their own nations and peoples. And with huge changes in travel and information exchange since all those treaties born of the Second World War atrocities came into being, a change in those treaties and laws is essential. That is, if you want to retain the concept of the nation-state and its people's right and ability to decide their own future. But not if you want the march to continue towards a one-world state and a Marxist government nirvana. But be in no doubt, a one-world state with a Marxist government is exactly the vision the UK WEF-controlled Lib-Lab-Con Uniparty Westminster blob has for our future. Otherwise, we would not be where we are.